think sometimes I could be missing out on opportunities with guys. A lot of times when guys do approach me in public, I will say, I have a boyfriend, or I'm sorry I don't give my number out. Fear because I don't know how guys are going to react. So, to avoid all that and me having to explain who I am, I just say, I have a boyfriend, or I'm sorry I don't give my number out. And it's not that I'm not interested in some of these guys, it's just that I don't want to have to explain myself. Perfect example, I was in the grocery store and these two guys were in the aisle, and one of them came up to me and started talking to me. He told me his name and I told him mine. And then I asked him where he's from, and he told me he's from Sudan. And I'm looking at him like he is just so gorgeous, tall, and just so handsome. And he says, "Can I have your number?" And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't give my number out." And he looks at me like, you talk to me and you're not going to give me your number? And so he just walked off and went up and talked to his friend. And I saw him at the checkout. And I wanted to go up to him and say, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said I don't give my number out, but here's my number." I was just nervous, but I didn't because, I'm thinking, well, he's going to say, well, he didn't want to give me your number to begin with, you know. It's the same thing that happened with my ex when I met him walking down the street, and he approached me and wanted to talk to me and ask me for my number. And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't give my number out." And he's following me down the street. And finally he says, "Fine, you take my number, but call me. You're going to call me." I'm like, "Yes, I'm going to call you." And it took me 3 days to call him and then explain to him that I was transgendered. And he said something that I'll never forget. It's the most beautiful thing. He said, "I met you as a woman. I look at you as a woman. It doesn't matter to me. You're beautiful." And I'll never forget it. I was his first trans girlfriend. And, I could be missing out on a really good guy, but because of me not wanting to explain who I am, or fear of I don't know how someone's going to react, and then the other part is saying, but, what if they're okay with it? You never know. But this fear of not knowing how someone is going to react. If I meet someone in a club where there's trans people and LGBT people, I feel more comfortable. But if it's, a guy who I'm thinking is straight, and I'm walking down the street or in a store or, grocery shop or something, or corner store, I don't want to have to explain to him who I am, because, it's me protecting myself. And it's sad because I could be missing out on someone who could be a good guy, but I have to protect myself.